Coming up on Be Kind, Let's Rewind.
Today we are talking about South Park Season 1.
It's a sentimental story of four lovable scamps growing up in Colorado.
I'm going to go ahead and go with mine.
Chris's pick.
Oh, yeah! Scuzzlebutt saves him. The town loves Scuzzlebutt, and Stan just runs up and shoots him in the head. Kills him.
Leaf's pick.
My favorite episode, for those of you who don't know, is Season 1, An Elephant Makes Love to a Pig.
Hey, you get your bitch ass back in the kitchen and make me some pie.
Chadwick's pick.
She's having an orgasm!
My pick is the Halloween episode, which was named Pink Eye.
Hey, Chef. Ah! Whoa, Chef's really scared of ghosts, huh?
It just runs off the screen.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
Beefcake. 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 Beefcake.
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and Chadwick.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast that no one asked for. Today we are talking about South Park Season 1 and all of our fun memories from that one. Guys, it's good to see you. It's been a little bit since we recorded, but
It seems like I hadn't seen you guys in a coon's age.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, man. Guys, where do you first remember seeing South Park or hearing about South Park? Because I remember the commercials on Comedy Central.
Every few years, a family show comes along that captures America's heart. Add Comedy Central's new show, South Park, to that list. It's a sentimental story of four lovable scamps growing up in Colorado. It'll make you laugh.
Laugh all you want. I'm the one who's gonna be on TV, looking all buff.
It'll make you cry.
Do your impersonation of David Caruso's career!
It'll make you puke. South Park, Why They Created the V-Chip. Premieres Wednesday, August 13th at 10 p.m. only at Comedy Central.
I remember being actually kind of upset that this was going to be a cartoon because of how shitty the animation was.
Yes.
And I think we were probably I think it was 97 it came out. So we were probably prime in our Dragon Ball Z era, or other animations are starting to come. I mean, Batman animated series has been around.
Superman animated series.
So I didn't even give this a chance. I was like, I'm not going to watch that. That's stupid. And then it turns out that Trey Parker and Matt Stone are probably the biggest comedic influences on my entire life. So
this came out in what, 97, right?
97.
1997.
Yeah, so we were seniors.
Yep.
In high school. In high school.
We had a lot going on. I mean, seniors. I think I was like we were seniors in high school. That's this year I graduated. So we kind of have a lot going on. And this was at a time I think that also we had a lot of animated shows that were out. Like I think Nickelodeon had like Johnny Bravo, like Cow and Chicken. There,
like
I think
Cartoon Network stuff. Yeah,
King of the Hill was out. Yep, Batman.
Ren and Stimpy.
I told you I'd shoot, but you didn't believe me. Why didn't you believe me?
Yeah. So this came out in one of those, and I'm going to agree with Chris. I saw the commercials for it, but I paid no attention to it. Like we Chris and I were fresh out of about to be fresh out of high school, cruising for puss, dude, and the prime of our lives.
Yeah,
I think we were
striking out left and right. Yeah,
dude, just surfing the AOL 2.0 for hot dish in chat rooms, dude.
Cue that connection noise.
Yeah. and so we actually didn't. I think this fell under both of our radars in that situation, because just another one of those cartoon television shows. And let's be honest, Comedy Central's had tons of them, and so has other networks. Everybody's looking for that Simpsons gem.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? Like Simpsons reigned supreme long even after South Park was introduced, but South Park was something special. And of course, it got overlooked until you watched it. You sat down.
Yeah,
and was like,
So I didn't even know anything about it. Like I don't think I even heard of it. I just remember people in my English class, senior English, they were doing like the Cartman voice, and I kept looking. I'm like, why you got like? Are you making fun of the kid? Like, what are you? Why are you talking like that?
Literally.
And finally, like someone told me what it was, and I checked it out. I think I watched. What night did it come on? Was it Wednesdays?
I think so.
Yeah. So I watched it, and it was probably 3 or 4 episodes in. I just got on my streaming service and got caught up real quick.
In 97, yeah.
I watched it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I was hooked after that. Like I said, we were seniors in high school. It came out I think it was October of
I think so.
97?
A little bit before that, because they did have a Halloween episode, so it probably been a little.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's right.
So like, I also remember being super freaking confused because when I watched it, I was like, that was pretty funny, but they killed off one of the main characters in the first episode, so that's weird. Like, I guess he's just not going to be around.
Is this Game of Thrones?
Wiener, 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 wiener.
Yeah,
dude.
And then the next episode, he's just there, and then it took me like halfway through for my brain to like break from tradition to be like, that's fucking hysterical. They're gonna kill this dude every fucking episode. Like,
Oh my God, they killed Kenny! You bastard!
Do you guys remember a little known comedy show called The Edge?
barely.
Like, y'all,
yeah.
barely. Okay, so
I do some edging every now and then.
The first like 5 minutes of that show, they kill the entire cast. And they're like the entire cast of The Edge is just being killed. Like, but please enjoy this pre-recorded season.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
that's how the television show starts. So that was reminiscent of that television show to me, because I was like, yo, they're just gonna kill him every episode. Because I immediately almost knew it, because there was a couple of callbacks to other shows in and around that time.
That was always the thing in cartoons. Like, how many times did Coyote fall off a cliff? Or
Yeah.
Anything
Itchy
was
and
possible.
scratchy and stuff. And then, but speaking of killing things, that's going to take us over to
Killing my liver.
Get out, man. Also, Trey Parker from Team America. Same guys. So cilantro. Today, I'm actually drinking a little bit of vodka soda with some Kettle One, not to be confused with Kettle 2 or Kettle 3. I've been working nights, driving a cab, and I'm not doing so good, Pearl. Hadn't actually been able to go to the damn beer store, so running low on supplies, not having many off days. So anyway, that's what I got going on there. Shadwick, what do you got there, brother?
I'm doing the a little martini, shaking my third.
Shadwick, the first person to do a martini in a shake bottle, for real.
He's just classy, dude.
Drink straight out of it like a savage. I love it.
The olive keeps getting caught in the little sippy hole there.
I heard a fact about that the reason that he ordered his martini, I don't know if this is true, so y'all can check me in the comments, but evidently he ordered his martini shaken, James Bond, because he wouldn't get drunk as fast, so he could still stay sharp. Because evidently, if they're stirred, I'm just saying that's what I've heard. That's what I read.
Science.
I heard that a woman made a martini for him one time, and she stirred it, and then he had to smack her around.
I mean, if it was Sean Connery as James Bond, then that's 100% what happened.
Leaf, what do you got over there? I know you're a little under the weather there, but you're braving through.
Dude, man, I'm powering through, dude. I got a little bit of rock and rye. If y'all haven't heard of it, look it up. It's a cure-all, definitely. It's old school medicine from the old country. And let me tell you, the old country was fucked up, and so am I. So,
cheers
cheers
to the fucking stud.
The old country, like when your people used to surround wagons.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what that is.
Before we jump fully into the topic, we also want to give a shout out to our boy Matt that hooked us up with that awesome rendition of Beetlejuice on our last episode. Be sure to check him out on the TikToks and all the links that we have.
Please.
In the comments from the previous episode. He also does our booze of the week. So shout out, Matt. Thanks, man. We appreciate you.
Is our X-Men episode still up, or is that on?
Yeah, it's still up, and you can also get that. He posted that too, so he did an awesome rendition of that one too. So talented guy. Go support him on the TikTok, SoundCloud, and whatever the hell else he's on. I don't know what you kids do anymore. I'm just here to yell at clouds and tell you how it was better back in May day, and we liked it.
Yeah, we're just sit here and stare and judge at kids for being the exact same as we were.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, you idiots, you're us. So let's go ahead and head over into our topic that is South Park Season 1. So what we did this time, we're all just basically going to pick our favorite episodes, and then we kind of had a consensus alternate. 3 seemed a little small, so we'll do 4.
Spit it out.
Yeah, I know, Jesus. What have I been driving cabs at nights or something?
I'm not doing so good, Pearl.
I give a synopsis of the South Park Season 1. So for those of you who are uninitiated, you've been living under a rock since 1997. South Park animated series aired on Comedy Central from the Season 1 aired from August 1997 to February 25th, 1998. The creators, of course, are the illustrious South Park aficionados Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
And they've been keeping the lights on at Comedy Central ever since.
Since. Wow. No wonder they get away with a lot of the stuff that they do, because it's making them money.
They're like, sure, fire us. We're only worth $1 billion a piece now.
Yeah, we're gonna make fun of gays and Jesus and everything else, and you're gonna sit down and you're gonna enjoy it because it makes you money. Just for a lesson for you kids. Companies don't care about your ideals. They don't care. This is all that matters.
And neither do I.
Yeah, business.
Dan Sterling, Philip Stark, and David Goodman were credited with writing 5 of the episodes in Season 1. Obviously, the narrative revolves around 4 children, Stan Marsh, Kyle Brovlovsky, Eric Cartman, and Kenny McCormick, and their unusual experiences in the titular mountain town. Thank you for that word, South Park, and on Wikipedia. But I mean, I would like to know between you two and myself, like, which one legitimately was your favorite? Was your favorite character that had? Because
early on it was Cartman, because he kind of played the stupid, dumb guy early on. But then there's like, after the Scott Tenorman episode, there was a switch flipped to where he became just this conniving ass. And I saw an interview with Trey and Matt, and they said when we first started South Park, I think like Stan was kind of more like Trey, Kyle was kind of more like Matt, and they're like, and as it's gone on, like, we're both just Cartman.
which is perfect. I personally had I tell you, one of my favorite probably is underrated. Obviously, I loved Cartman, but I feel like Kenny was so underrated. And like, I have like a quick little fact about him. He evidently, like, because his voice is muffled and you can't really understand what he's saying, they didn't have to bleep a lot of his lines. So he says some foul ass stuff if you really go back and watch it and catch it, including in the very beginning and the title when he's singing. He says, if you don't know, I like girls with big vaginas. I like girls with big fat titties.
Yeah,
and that is in the show from 1997.
So I didn't even know about the vagina part. I knew about, I thought I knew about the big fat titties.
The titties, yeah. But yeah, that was just, I guess it's Matt Stone that does Kenny. Just puts his, you can see him, and there's a great documentary. I think it's still on HBO. It's called like 6 Days to Air. And this crew follows them. They basically do an episode in 6 days, then give it to Comedy Central, and then do the whole thing over again. They've been doing that for a little while now, but basically he just puts his hand over his mouth, says whatever fucked up shit he wants into the microphone, and then
gets away.
There we go. Yeah.
Now, I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but I'd kind of like to make love to you tonight.
Dude, they've had so many movies, and we got to go back and do some of them, especially some that are little known from Matt Stone and Trey Parker. If you like their style of humor, they've got a lot of material, guys.
These guys were in like film school in Colorado somewhere, and they had a project. It's called Cannibal the Musical. So like they had a project, right, where you got to make a movie. So they go to make a movie, and like these dudes out of the gate are like, "Yeah, we'll go make a fucking musical." Like, how do you just grab that and it's good? And then not to mention they've won like some Tonys and shit with the Book of Mormon. Like these dudes do everything.
They do it all. They do it all.
And do it at a high fucking level.
Which I think that point has never been more understated that you just made, because I think people watch South Park and they're like, well, this is nothing but a bunch of dick and fart jokes.
Yeah,
and
lowbrow
like
humor.
Perverted like things. But what you don't understand is like I'm pretty sure that that either Trey Parker or Matt Stone speak like multiple languages. I'm pretty sure they're fluent. They have so many talents and abilities. I know
Songwriting.
They can write songs, they sing, and you see that a lot in episode 1 throughout.
Was it this just a rumor, or was it true that Terrence and Phillip were created because they were accused of only doing dick and fart jokes?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that Terrence and Phillip, I don't know what Terrence and Phillip was. I always assumed Terrence and Phillip was kind of like a nod, like a shot at Beavis and Butthead when I was younger, but it's really not. Like,
yeah,
the only cartoon they didn't like was Family Guy. So
I had heard that there was an order for 6 episodes in the beginning, and of course it hit big. But then I had heard that critics said, "Well, it's nothing but dick and fart jokes," and they're like, "We'll show you dick and fart jokes." And so then they created.
I don't doubt it, but I do know that I think that they got season 1 all ordered in one because they were filming Basketball in 1997-98 while they were also doing season 2 of South Park. And when he threw in like the Mr. Garrison voices and stuff, he said he thought that would be a funny joke to people that remembered it, like a nod, because they thought after season 1 of South Park, they were done, because that's what happened in Hollywood. Like you get one show, you do it, you go move on to the next one. They thought that was it.
They knew they were lucky to even get one season. Right. They were like, we're going to blow our load, and then we got to go next probably.
Which actually the way that I believe they were discovered is they had made they made some like animation thing, and then someone came to them. I don't remember who it was. They said they'd pay him X amount of money to do the Christmas one that's like Santa and Jesus fighting. So and this is right back where, we still got a little bit of internet going on, so you can pass it, via disc, maybe via email. I don't know. But this thing gets its way around Hollywood, and that rumored that George Clooney is the one that found it and helped kind of open some doors for them. Verified? Don't know. That's the rumor. It's what I've always heard. He actually appeared. He appeared as a dog in one of their episodes where all he did was bark, I think, or some shit. Like, yeah. So it checks the box. But
and that he's a funny dude. Like,
yeah.
I heard him talking a while back about he had a roommate, and he was always playing pranks on him. Like, I think the guy had a cat or a dog, and he was concerned because he thought that the cat wasn't taking a shit because Clooney kept on cleaning out the little sandbox or whatever.
Wow, that's some deep shit right there.
And so like as a guy's like, he's getting more and more worried about his animal. So he still doesn't tell him, but what he does is he squats down and takes a monster shit in the litter box himself.
That's pretty fucking outstanding.
Speaking of that, you guys want to go to our runner-up episode? Because like Chris said, we've each chosen 3 different episodes from season 1.
This is a great segue. Well done, Shadwick. So, Leaf, what is our alternate runner-up episode?
Our alternate runner-up is from South Park. Season 1, Season 1, episode 9 aired on December the 17th, 1997. Of course, it is a holiday episode. If you're fans of South Park, you already know Chris's impression, Shadwick's impressions. Basically, this episode takes place during a Christmas season in South Park, Colorado, where the show is obviously based. The townspeople are preparing for an annual Christmas play directed by Kyle's mother, Sheila Brovlovsky, concerned about being inclusive. Even back then in 1997, Sheila insists that all religious elements be removed from the play.
You bastards ruined Christmas!
That's a nice line from that episode.
And they just start fighting.
Yeah.
So obviously it's this is the actual, and we mentioned it a little before, this is actual genius of Matt Stone and Trey Parker. So underneath this layer of literal feces and dick and fart jokes is an absolute iceberg-esque layer of intelligence, and it's a commentary. Truth. It's a commentary about being offended or scared to offend somebody else, and you start removing elements from your culture, and it ends
I'll
up.
Stop right here to say this: they are the people that taught me in comedy, and it's true. And you can fuck off if you don't agree. Either it's all okay or none of it's okay. If you start to say we can't make fun of X, Y, and Z, now you've just put up barriers, and now you've separated people. Now you're dividing people.
That's funny because X, Y, and Z are the only letters are not in all that LBGT fucking alphabet soup.
Exactly, Chris and Shadwick are exactly right, and that's in essence the point that they're making is that when you pull out like a lot of the culture aspects, whether it's religious or traditional, even right, it doesn't have to be necessarily like Christmas is a tradition the majority of us grew up with in some way, form, or fashion, whether you're Jewish, Muslim, or Christian.
I try not to ever pull out anything.
We're very much aware. Don't ever do ancestry.com, Shadwick. You're gonna have a lot of back child support.
That is going to be a PTSD experience for you, Shadwick.
That is not true.
And so what you find is Kyle's mom is basically that the woke weirdo who's just trying to pull everything out, and you end up with a elementary school play that's just freaking weird, dude.
It's terrible.
She
right?
always reminded me
terrible.
of Barbara Streisand.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that was by design.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. She's like the traditional overbearing, like sort of Jewish mother. And for those of you who don't know, Kyle is supposed to be Jewish in the
and I believe Matt Stone rumored. I've never seen this. Is what's great about Matt and Trey too. One, neither one of them on social media, geniuses. Two, and they're both worth $1 billion, so you can do it without social media, kids.
The guy made $1 million.
He made $1 million.
It was a jump to conclusions, Matt.
But they don't do a lot of interviews, man. They're not like they made the rounds early on with South Park on talk shows and stuff, but there's a lot of mystery still involved with these guys, and I think that's by design. They're not out, on all the Hollywood parties and stuff. They're not they keep to themselves, and I like that. Like they're just because they seem like outside they're just normal ass dudes like us. It's relatable for me. Yeah, that are worth $1 billion each.
Right. Except for that one thing. They're just like us here at the Be Kind, Let's Rewind podcast.
Now, with all that said, Chris, I have a surprise for you. Actually, I couldn't get Matt, but I do have Trey here with me today.
Right. I was like, if Trey, I was expecting a joke, but if Trey had been there and you didn't invite me to your house, I think I would have no longer talked to you.
Yeah, it would have been friendship ended immediately, but also it was hilarious that nothing happened. So there's just don't edit anything, Chris.
It's just going to be Eddie Murphy going.
Yeah, I put that in the last episode too.
Yeah, I saw it.
So what's great about the Mr. Hanky one is just a talking piece of poo. That only Kyle you think can see, like he's going crazy. What did they have him as a fecal philiac on Prozac at some point during that episode? And then Mr. Hanky saves Christmas. But my all-time favorite Mr. Hanky line is from when they have the film festival where their ecosystem is all messed up. It's in a later season. And they pull the Star Wars line that me and Leaf, when we first saw it, probably like nearly laughed ourselves to death when he's like, he's dying and he's like, come closer.
There is another Skywalker.
And then so okay, that's funny. They had that joke, and then he wakes back up and he's like, come closer.
One time, when you were sleeping, I put myself in your mouth and had my friend take a picture.
So a piece of shit put himself in Kyle's mouth when he's asleep and had someone take a picture.
There's something so self-aware about this episode. Like, it's so lowbrow, but they understand what it is, and they just play and on and on. And Chris says this episode is a runner-up because it goes into perpetuity. It's something that everyone sort of gravitated to. It was funny.
They even used Mr. Hanky to that Kavanaugh interview or whatever in one of the later seasons. They had him like way too high up on the mic, like feedbacking like he was when he was in like the Congress and the hearing and all that shit.
Mr. Hanky.
It's so funny. Like,
is that the beer guy? I like beer.
Yeah. They had it was just so fucking funny. But
evidently that episode was inspired by Trey's habit of not flushing the toilet when he was a kid. And so that's I don't know if that's true, but that sounds like something a kid
I've
might
heard
do.
I heard rumors too, like that. Again, this was like on the internet when we were like 17. I heard rumors that like Trey or Matt Stone's parents used to, this was an actual thing with Matt Stone and all this stuff, which is all bullshit. Which, knowing them or knowing what we know about them now, definitely can see them in an interview with somebody saying that straight up, not laughing, and then walking away knowing that they just left this gem that someone's going to run with and be like, dude, did you know?
Exactly. Like, and as you mentioned, who the hell knows if that's even true? Like,
fucking genius.
It's on the internet.
So that one is our alternate, our runner up. I'm going to go ahead and go with mine.
Chris's pick.
Ooh, yeah.
Which is a Volcano. There's so many good things in this, but I think the reason for this one that it's my favorite is the Scuzzlebutt thing, because it's so out of
has TV's Patrick Duffy for a leg.
Patrick Duffy for a leg, which also in another episode when they had one episode later on where they had flashbacks. I think it may have been in season 1, and when they flash back to this, it's Brent Musburger.
Hi, kids. I'm TV's Brent Musburger.
As the leg, but it's actually Brent Musburger. He's like, he came into voice, hey, I'm TV's Brent Musburger, kids. Like, I was like, what the fuck? That's awesome.
Wait, like CBS Sports?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send you the clip. It's funny as shit. Like, he came on to do that clip. I don't remember what episode it was, but anyway, this episode, Leaf, if you'll read the synopsis, basically just them going hunting, right?
That's exactly right. Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny, all the boys, go on a weekend camping and hunting trip in the mountains with Stan's uncle, Jimbo, and his
friend
war
Ned.
buddy, Ned Jablansky.
Yeah.
Drive the car, damn it, drive.
So Ned has a voice box. I assume from all the years of smoking,
right,
in the military or whatever, or maybe he was injured in Vietnam.
They said it was from smoking, I think.
It was from smoking.
Yeah.
I think, they mentioned it.
Yeah, you get, like, everything he says is kind of a gem. Like,
what you got, biatch.
Yeah.
Which is also terrible for WWE's Kane when Kane tried to use a vocal box for a little bit when they pretended like he couldn't talk. And I was like, everyone's seeing Ned from South Park. Like, you can't do that. Like,
it was so funny, dude.
Can we get a side-by-side picture of you and Kane, by the way?
No. No.
So Ned and Jim are obviously just these country rednecks, and they're drinking, they're using explosives to hunt. Like, it's just like the quintessential like backwoods, I guess.
And we learned that there were rules against hunting.
Yeah,
the animals have to be attacking you, so
it's only in self-defense.
Yeah.
So they're coming,
it's coming right for us.
Yeah, it's coming right for us.
So while they're out camping, obviously there is in the background Stan's dad, who's a geologist.
This is our introduction to him, I believe, and you can see what Randy looks like in this old episode compared to what Randy is now, who becomes like a mainstay character as the series goes on. Yeah, but he's even like drawn different or whatever. Like back then,
he's just in this episode. He's just sort of clueless. Yeah, and I'm not even exactly sure if you make the connection that's supposed to be Stan's dad. At that point in time, he's just a random scientist geologist who's sort of clueless, and so there's an erupting volcano. Meanwhile, the hunting party gets introduced to the legend of Scuzzlebutt, a monster with a Patrick Duffy leg and a celery stalk for an arm, who weaves baskets like the. Yeah. So of course the volcano erupts and the hunting party becomes trapped. Scuzzlebutt saves the group. He shows up obviously he thought it was just a South Park like prank by Cartman, but instead it ends up being Scuzzlebutt. Like, he's actually real. Yeah. And he saves them from the impending lava flow.
Dude, I also my runner-up favorite character in this is the fucking mayor. The mayor is like such your typical politician or whatever. Like, she's on live, it says live TV.
Now is that some of our children are camping on that mountain, and I'm sorry, can I start over?
Countdown. Let me know when you're ready. 3, 2, 1. The children are on the that whole thing is like none of it's real. But they dig this trench because the lava's gonna, the volcano erupts. They're trying to divert the lava. They dig this ditch to divert it, so the kids are safe. Scuzzlebutt saves the kids. He does. He weaves them a wicker basket,
and that just goes to show like the depth, like how cerebral they are, because they put a woman in politics.
Yeah,
and she's bad. And she's absolutely incredibly corrupt. But I have to talk about my favorite part from this episode is the video that Officer Bar Brady shows the townspeople.
That's
it even cuts and skips, so some of the words are missing because the film is so old.
Spliced and like.
That's right. Duck and cover. Looks like you got the idea.
It's so funny, dude. And so basically the video is like the nuclear war videos. They're like, if you see a lava flow or a volcanic explosion, you duck and cover. Yeah. And it's just the dummest shit ever.
Like, the lava jumps over them because they duck and cover. Like, we watched that because when we were kids, we thought we were going to be on fire a hell of a lot, apparently, because that stop, drop, and roll shit was everywhere. Like, I haven't been on fire or any quicksand nary one time in my life, but by God, I've been stuck in a dryer. No one warned me about that. So,
dude, it's pure propaganda. All it is.
No, the information was there. You just had to take it in.
Right?
I took it in.
There are tons of documentaries on that.
Yeah, which a few of the townspeople do. They instantly get killed.
Yeah,
and it's so funny. Like,
this was one of my favorite ones too. There's just so many good lines in it. Like,
there's so many.
Like Ned, like you were saying earlier, he's just like the typical like redneck fun time uncle. So he gets the kids out there and gives them all guns and beer and Cartman. Cartman's like pointing his gun at one of the kids.
At Stan.
Yeah, and Ned's like,
"Hey, look out, son! That's dangerous. You're gonna spill your beer."
That is a dirty little bastard.
That's right. The underlying theme of the show that we didn't mention is that the whole time it's Stan's uncle, and he's trying to prove himself a man. And he's getting jealous of Kenny, who of course gets killed in this episode. I'm pretty sure by an errant bullet. Yeah. But that's the whole thing. The premise is that Stan is actually jealous of his parental figure.
And it has two giant laughs at the end too. Like, one when they're like, "Hey, the trenches worked. Like, where'd you divert the lava to?" And it just cuts to Denver being like taken over by lava, like people screaming, like this horrendous screams. And then Stan at the very end, Scuzzlebutt saves him. The town loves Scuzzlebutt, and Stan just runs up and shoots him in the head.
I did it! I finally killed something!
He kills him because that's what his uncle wanted him to do. And then he was like, wait, why is that bad what I just did? You were telling me to kill stuff earlier. It's so fucking funny, man. Like,
it's brilliant.
That shit is great, man.
Brilliant.
So, Leaf, you do yours next, and then we'll end with Shadwick's.
Because I think mine's next.
Yeah, but before we do yours, I want to go ahead and go over to Shit Stuck in My Head this week.
Haven't you ever heard that song by Loverboy? Which song is that?
Pig and elephant DNA just won't splice.
So after I watched this episode, that has been jammed. Like, I couldn't get it out of my fucking head, man.
That's Pig and elephant DNA. That song by Loverboy, because why would Loverboy? Right.
I've had a song stuck in my head too, but it was "I Want to Make Love to You, Woman."
Shadwick brings an absolute good point. So we have in there one of the side supporting characters is Chef, of course, played by none other
Isaac Hayes.
None other than Isaac Hayes. And let me just tell you, this is a running gag that I miss. Obviously, R.I.P. Isaac Hayes has passed away. They actually had a falling out on South Park, which we can go into that drama another time. But in season 1, their black, deep voiced, like crooning chef, school chef, was in the episodes. And every time he had it, almost every single episode in this season 1, he had a musical number where he would sing.
And it would always be like some weird song. Like it would always be
suck on my chocolate salty ball.
It was sexual.
Put it in your mouth and suck them.
Yeah.
Which became a running gag. Every time Chef sang, it was sexual. He's in this episode.
Leaf's pick.
My favorite episode, for those of you who don't know, is season 1. An elephant makes love to a pig. Which
is great episode. So this is
so you get giant elephant-sized pigs. That's great. That's a great idea.
Great idea.
Yes,
there's so many quick jokes like that throughout this episode too. Like as you can tell, like as they because episode 1, which we didn't really talk about, but episode 1 was actually done with construction paper and an amount of time that I don't even want to fucking think about how long it would take them to shoot what they shot with that. Like
it was stop motion.
What makes me want to vomit thinking about how long that would take. But as they kind of get along a couple episodes in, man, they're really hitting stride. And like Chadwick said, that you obviously think, oh, we're going to breed a pig with an elephant so you can have tiny elephant kids. And then the other dude goes the other way. He's like, oh, like elephant-sized pigs. It's a great idea. Like
everybody in South Park is stupid. It's wonderful. Agree. So the episode begins obviously with Kyle. For some reason, he's mail ordered a full size elephant from Africa, and out of the gate, this episode had me rolling because they're sitting waiting for the school bus with Kyle's pet elephant, and the school bus driver like drives up and is like, hey, you can't get that thing like on the bus. Like, what are you trying to do? And Kyle's like,
oh, this is the new retarded kid.
How dare you?
How dare you? She's like, oh, well, that's different. But you still can't get on the bus. He's got to ride the small bus. The camera pans over. One of the mentally handicapped kids is like a face growing out of him. They're just like
upside down.
They're one hanging upside down.
They're just absolutely screeching. It's like it's so offensive. Out of the freaking gate.
Out of the gate, dude. Yeah.
So Kyle indeed decides he wants to shrink his elephant so he can keep it as a pet, and the only way is to breed him with Cartman's pot-bellied pig Fluffy. So the kids decide to enlist the help of Dr. Mephisto, which is 100%, a parody of the Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, 100%.
And he is the version of Marlon
and this
Brando.
Was like, I think too, cloning was still fresh on the brain back in the 90s. Like, should you do it? And then so he's like doing, the whole DNA splicing.
Yes.
Was that Dolly the sheep? Was that in the 90s or was that later on?
It was the 90s.
think it was the 90s, yeah. And so when they go to the South Park like genetic clinic or whatever it is that is for some reason, why does that even exist? It's like a haunted castle, and they enlist the help of Dr. Mephisto, who is, by the way, just an absolute pervert, which I missed. Like I thought like all of his genetic creations have 4 asses.
Yeah. Oh, and that shit too, where he's like, "Children, I'm lusciously sorry." Like he keeps using like weird adjectives.
Doesn't Mr. Garrison see one of those animals with 4 asses, and he gets all excited about it?
Yeah.
Yes. Look, Mr. Hat.
So they realize very quickly this guy is a weirdo and a quack, and they instead go and talk to Chef to find out how another way. And he says just basically
they found out like he's a weirdo and a quack, but then he recites to them the reason why that he can't clone the pig and elephant DNA is because of the Loverboy song. Still lets him know it just won't splice. Just Dootin', pig and elephant DNA just won't splice.
That was a great Loverboy hit. I freaking love that. It's so good. It's
so dumb. It's so funny, man.
It's ridiculous. So while Stan is there talking to back to Dr. Mephisto, before they enlist Chef's help, Dr. Mephisto takes some of Stan's blood randomly. Obviously, this is a plot point. He's going to do something with it. But they leave and they ask Chef for his opinion about how to make this happen, and he's basically like, "Well, it's fine. You just breed them. You don't splice their DNA."
And they're doing this also for a school project, right? Science project.
Yes,
because
Mr. Garrison.
Because the other kids, I can never remember his name.
They have
he's only been. I think he's only in this episode too. Like the other ones that are like, let's go. Like they stay, but that one kid that's like Mephisto's son, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I think this is the only one that he's in.
So Stan says he's going to breed those two, and that kid's like, I'm going to clone a human. And,
doesn't he clone like a human foot at one point to show him like how far he's gotten? It's just a foot kicking people and shit. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like,
it's the dumbest. It's the freaking dumbest thing,
but
dude.
Chef, this is the "Tonight Is Right for Love" song, isn't it? Which is one of my what's a great fucking song anyway. Like
it's on the South Park I think soundtrack.
Yeah, it is.
Chris and I used to listen to it. They've changed the lyrics. Originally, the song is called "Love Gravy."
Okay.
Yeah,
which he sings in front of the children to make the pig and the elephant make love, obviously, and that's what the South Park does.
Yeah, Chef looked at that elephant and said,
"I bet that tastes good."
So even funnier than that, once they get both the animals drunk, and the elephant gets up on that little bitty pig, Chef's like, "Now I know how all those white women felt."
They get an argument randomly too, like at the gas station. I can't literally repeat what they said because of YouTube. If Chris wants to find a clip, he can, but you just need to go and watch the episode. If not, because they're going in on each other, and let me tell you, like 8-year-olds, supposedly 8-year-olds, like cussing each other out is so funny because the insults that Matt Stone and Trey Parker make up are hilarious and they're really offensive,
dude.
But it's so funny, dude. Yeah, and that's all through this episode. So the conclusion is basically Dr. Mephisto creates a clone of Stan to help his son win the school project, but it goes awry because it's just this mutant.
Because the other subplot of this was like Stan's being bullied by his sister.
Yes,
and then now he's got the clone of me, Stan, but chewy chomp, but chewy chomp.
So, yes, that's one of my favorite lines in the entire season when he's talking about Shelly beating his ass and Cartman busts out the.
If she tried anything, I'd be like, "Hey, you get your bitch ass back in the kitchen and make me some pie."
Exactly, dude. It's this that stuff's all the way through this episode.
This also too was like one of the ones we quoted all the time. We're like, "You looking at my head here?"
Sister. Yeah,
all the time.
And what was it that the mutant clone? What did he always say?
Bachua Chomp, and then like that
Bachua
reporter,
Chomp.
because they had this like running gag for it lasted a few seasons with reporters. They would always have some fucked up joke with a reporter, and there was
Every
one.
time.
It would be like a midget in a bikini, and then he's like, "That's right, Tom," and then but one of them's name was. He was like, "We'll take it over to our on-the-scene reporter, Creamy Goodness." Like, he's like, "Take it away, Creamy."
Yeah. So they would always it had a messed up name, or they were really weird, and yeah, they would read like in
this
the
one.
news
This
report.
one was just like he was quoted as saying, "Moose stamp, Bachua Chomp, Bachua Chewy Chomp." Back to you, Tom.
And so one of my favorite parts is that when Dr. Moreau or whatever his name was in this episode Mephisto realizes that Stan's clone only has one ass, he's like, he's no good to me.
And when he learns his lesson in the end, he's like, maybe I should leave things to God's one ass schematics.
He stopped playing God. So he shows up randomly at Stan's house and shoots the clone in the head.
Yeah.
And
Bah!
yeah,
That's what the noise he makes when he gets killed. Yeah.
And Stan and his sister make up after the entire episode where she was bullying him. Mostly. She beats him up again in the end 'cause this is South Park.
And we should clear up the fact that when the clone gets there, Shelley does whip his ass properly.
She beats the fuck out of him.
She beats him too. And he's also on a rampage. I forgot to mention that too. Like the clone is on a rampage destroying the city. It's just like he's just a Frankensteinish like
this
freak.
This one again, it's so funny, has so many lines, and when you go back and watch it too, like the jokes per minute is insane, which it makes sense now. I just finished the Don't Call Me Shirley book on Airplane. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone on the audiobook, they did talked and did interviews for the audiobook. So like you get to hear them talk about what big fans they were of Airplane, and you can kind of see that influence in South Park. It was like the Airplane, Monty Python, some other stuff that really influenced them, because it's the whole thing with a comedy, which is why I love rewatching comedies, is when you go back, you were laughing probably during 3 jokes.
Yeah.
And then you get to pick it back up, like where it's like a brand new episode because you missed that joke.
I've got
rapid fire comedy.
I have to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine again because
same here. That same thing happened with that for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Me and my brother and I watched that together, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And yeah, it's one of those you need to watch again because there's a lot of like quick one-liners and a lot of wild stuff going on, and that's just South Park in general. There's a lot happening in each episode that you need to watch again, and even in the synopsis, it's hard to say everything that's going on, that we've researched and given here.
So many damn jokes, and we've seen it so many damn times. So,
yes.
Chadwick, what was the episode that you're coming to the table with, brother?
So we mentioned the Christmas episode earlier, and that's probably the exception because I generally don't like Christmas episodes of any show.
Yeah,
but I always like the Halloween episodes.
Yeah,
you look back at like Home Improvement, Modern Family, Roseanne, all those. They all had like great, So
Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors thing that launched off of that.
I think one of the reasons that is too, Shadwick, is because that in Christmas episodes are always trying to teach you this lesson. Right. Like, and I feel like I agree with you. I feel like a lot of times, like, I don't need lessons. Like, I need to be a better person than I am, but I don't need to be preached to about it necessarily from a special. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah. And so I think that's one of the reasons.
Good.
That's why I agree with you that a lot of I'm not a fan of a lot of Christmas episodes either. And I think that's one of the main reasons. You're like, just lay off me, dude. I'm not Ebenezer Scrooge.
Starving.
Chadwick's back.
She's having an orgasm.
My pick is the Halloween episode, which was named Pink Eye.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
And earlier I said something about this starting in October, but I think I was thinking about this episode.
Yeah,
I think it came out October 29th, maybe.
Yeah. It was right around Halloween.
And they even did a different opening.
Yeah, man. The first alternate opening they did.
I think they may have done a cold opening on this one too. Like it starts off with the astronauts in space.
They did. Yeah, they did do a cold opening because of the little alien that crashes or whatever.
Yeah, the little shuttle or whatever it is.
It's like an international space station. They all die.
Yeah. Doesn't everybody know that they can't come back until February?
Yeah.
Which is a good point, because at the beginning of this episode, well, unlike most of the show, they kill Kenny in the beginning.
Yeah.
Usually it's at the end, like he dies. But in this episode, it's in the beginning.
Yeah, it's a plot point though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the satellite, space station, whatever it is, falls out of the sky and directly on Kenny, kills him. You kill Kenny, you bastards.
Yeah.
And they throw him into a literal body bag.
And I always love those rats are always around Kenny, like waiting for him to die. Like, what? This is a cautionary tale, man, of the Worcestershire sauce. keep it away from embalming fluid, man.
Yeah,
there's a clear warning on the side of the bottle.
So I actually put about 5 minutes worth of research into this episode, and originally they wanted to use Diet Dr. Pepper, but they couldn't get the
Diet Dr. Pepper to sign off on it.
Yeah,
oh,
they couldn't get it released.
Way.
But I think this actually works a little bit better because it's more.
It's funnier for the 800 number they call, because it's like an English lady they got to talk to. Kind of sets that up.
Yeah, but it makes. But I think maybe I don't know. Worcestershire is or Worcestershire.
Well, no one knows how to pronounce it.
It's a little more global. Like it
is
big in Europe. You know?
I agree with you, and also I believe the ingredients on it are mysterious. Can you because with Coke, there's sugar in it. There's a lot of ingredients you could probably taste, etc. But with Worcestershire sauce, no one really knows what's in it mostly, unless you're really killing
English.
Kind of like Vienna sausages that have mechanically separated chicken parts or something like that.
Yes,
Look,
it's like what is in this stuff?
You need to know about Vienna sausages. They're good until your blood pressure becomes an issue in your life. They're no longer good then.
Yeah,
or ramen.
Kill me. Yeah. All right.
Was it ramen and chunked ham?
Yeah, that'll add years to your life. Leaf, you got a little synopsis of this one?
I do. I forgot to read this part on mine, but the Pink Eye episode was season 1, episode 7, aired October the 29th. So the day before Halloween,
good memory,
or day or two. Yeah, really good. 1997. So obviously Kenny is killed from the freak accident. He's accidentally embalmed with some Worcestershire fluid, which causes him to instantly turn into a zombie. So the first two people that get bit by Kenny are the coronary guys that are embalming him, and they're sick, obviously turning into zombies. And they go to the doctor.
Yeah, they go to the doctor, and he's like,
"Well, your temperature is only 55 degrees. You have no pulse, no heartbeat, and your eyes are all puffy and sticky."
It's obviously you have pink eye.
You have pink eye.
And he's
love it.
What does he say? Like,
"I'd give you topical medicine, but I don't want to touch you."
But Trey and Matt, this is not the only topical cream joke that they use. Remember in basketball they had that song, and it was unless you use topical cream every day. There's some inside joke with them that they continue to use through South Park.
I think, and this is my personal opinion, I have no facts to back this up. You can correct me in comment section if you want. Here's what I think. I've obviously been to the doctor probably more often than most, being in a wheelchair, kidney transplant patient, etc. The going to the doctor, and I feel like maybe everybody's had this experience if you've ever even been to the doctor, where there's something seriously wrong with you, but the topical creams is sort of an analogy for the doctor's not going to really do anything to help you.
Right.
You're kind of just out in left field, left alone, and you go to the doctor. You're like, "I'm really sick. What's wrong with me?" The doctor's like, "I don't know. Here's some topical cream." So for that part hits really hard with me, because the doctor's not listening. He's absolutely stupid, and he does something that doesn't even rectify the issue or the problem. It's beautiful.
All of Leaf's doctors are like chubs at the driving range. That's nice. Good for him.
It's all in the hips.
Or that Family Guy episode, when Joe Swanson went to the doctor, and then he came in and he's like, "Mr. Swanson, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're paralyzed." And he's like, "Yeah, I knew that." And he goes, "Oh, thank God. I was worried about that for 5 minutes. I was going to tell you that."
I'm standing out in the hall trying to figure out how to
tell you.
Practicing my speech. It's so good, dude. But let's get to the real reason why this is Shadwick's favorite episode.
All right, so it is a Halloween episode. So all the kids
are costumes.
Yep, just like we did. They got to dress up to go to school. Stan, I don't think we've mentioned that he is completely in love with Wendy.
And wants to kiss Wendy Testerberger.
Right,
Wendy Testerberger.
Wendy Testerberger.
It's to the point. Season 1.
Yeah, to the point where when she talks to him, he gets sick and throws up.
Throws up every time. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a sweet Chewbacca mask that he was going to wear, but she talked him into dressing up like Raggedy Andy.
Yeah.
So she was going to be Raggedy Ann, and together they would for sure win the costume contest and all the candy. Yeah. So the kids are at the bus stop waiting, and is it Kyle? I guess is dressed up like Chewbacca.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you got Raggedy Andy with Stan, and then our boy Cartman. He's dressed up like the leader of the Third Reich,
the Fuhrer of the Third Reich.
Yig Heil! Yig Heil!
Yeah. It's the best we don't say his name.
Q.
And hell, that's not cool.
It's his Jewish friend Kyle.
Yeah.
His mom dressed him up like fucking Hitler.
Yes, that was it. That was in my notes. I want to make sure we touched on, because he says it 2 or 3 times. Like everybody asks, like, where did you get that? It's like, my mom made it for me.
Yeah. So his mom just dressed him up.
Hold on. I know this is super offensive, but let me bring some a little bit of levity, or maybe even shocking, and take the heat off America. I just want to let y'all know Japan has no such qualms for Halloween dressing. Look it up. They have no such qualms dressing in full Third Reich regalia for Halloween.
Dude, I'll say this too. This is. I don't know. This is probably based off of them probably going to school with people that have like clueless moms and shit. But I've seen every year, it seems like you see some shit like on the news where it's like, mom sent her son to school in blackface as Jackie Robinson because it's her favorite baseball player. And you're like, and the mom's like, it's just his favorite baseball player. I don't understand.
I don't think what the problem is.
Yeah. Okay. So what if a black kid wanted to go to school dressed as Ryan Sandberg? Like,
that he puts on whiteface.
Yeah, and everybody's fine.
And everybody's cool.
Yeah, don't dress your kid up. Don't put your political views on your kid and send him to school. You knew what you're doing. Come on.
Just come on, please. So yes, he's dressed as
So Cartman lays in to Stan for the he calls him
Raggedy Andy.
He calls him Howdy Doody, and a whole slew of like hilarious names. They get to school, and Wendy walks up to Stan in her Chewbacca mask,
in her sweet Chewbacca mask. You know. So he's been double crossed.
Yeah,
he's been double crossed by Dish.
Never trust a dish, ladies and gentlemen.
Who hasn't been there?
Who
has been led astray by
and her logic
badge?
Her logic is great. She's like,
but then I just realized how stupid we would look. You what? I thought you would reach the same conclusion, so
she didn't bother to call him. She just was like, I figured we'd both arrive to this conclusion.
It turns out she didn't actually have a Chewbacca mask. She was just dressed up as a cunt.
Yeah. Or to our people across the pond, a coont. So,
so Stan says he wishes she was dead, and that makes me laugh every single time. No, I'm not trick or treating with you. I wish you were dead.
Yeah, and meanwhile, you have Kenny, who obviously zombie rules now. He's back at school. They thought he was dead with his 55-degree temperature.
So he's back at the bus stop. Like, they keep asking him, like, what do you dress up as? You would think that they would think that he was a zombie, but but Cartman's just like, too bad drinking scotch isn't a job. Your dad would be a billionaire.
Kenny, it's family's pie.
I wish they would go back to making fun of Kenny's poor ass family. That whole episode, they kept
it going, man. Cartman had a whole song and dance about Kenny being the poor kid in school about 4 seasons ago.
So funny, man.
But yeah, dude, that is so fucking funny. Like that whole where he's like trying to rip on him, and then Kenny when he's in class and his arm falls off, and Mr. Garrison's like, Kenny, how about we keep our body parts to ourselves?
keep our hands to ourselves.
Yeah.
They're at the lunch table, and the principal, Mrs. Crabtree, she's a mediocre principal. I said mediocre. She sits him down and makes him watch this documentary on Hitler. And the whole time he's watching, he's sitting there with this big shitting grin, like
he's getting just even more stoked.
Yeah, he's like so excited about it. And then it goes off, and he's like, "Can I watch again? That is key."
Yeah.
She tells him that he can't be Hitler anymore, so she's gonna help him out. Yeah, she helps him out, and she makes a ghost costume for him. And
it's a little too pointy of a hat on the ghost costume.
Yeah, and. So the next time the chef walks up, he sees Cartman with his ghost outfit with the pointy hood. And
Hey, Chef. Whoa, Chef's really scared of ghosts, huh?
Chef's like, he just runs off the screen.
Chef is dressed up like Evel Knievel, and the principal's like, Chef, why are you dressed like Elvis?
He's like, why the hell would I be dressed like Elvis?
I'm Evel Knievel. And she's like, why the hell would you be dressed like Evel Knievel? And you know why? Because he didn't have whiteface on.
Yeah,
exactly.
If he had on if he had on whiteface, people would have known.
Then people would have still thought he's Elvis.
So the whole time this is happening, Kenny's biting people and just turning them into zombies.
Yeah.
And Chef finally realizes the issue.
And there's one, I can't remember who he bites, but Kenny bites this guy on the head, and like,
God damn it,
he rips his skin off, and it reminded me of this video. I sent it to Chris. This guy,
look,
I don't even know
like watching shit like this, man.
I don't know where this is, but this guy, he has this little monkey like sitting in his lap, and like, this is a real video. This is not animated.
Yeah.
The monkey's like sitting there, just kind of like picking at him, and then just fucking scalps the dude in like no time flat. It's like just rips a quarter of the dude's scalp off and just like runs off with it.
And then classic Chadwick fashion, he was like, "Hey, maybe we could use this in the episode." And I was like,
"That's a great idea.
I'm not putting that in there." I hate watching that shit.
We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be.
That's freaking terrible.
You'll want it.
We get to the final conclusion, basically, that the chef figures it out. Unfortunately, not before he himself is turned into a zombie and reenacts Thriller with a filthy song about sex, as always. I'm going to make love even when I'm dead.
Yep.
It's like,
you know, side note on Isaac Hayes, he said when he interviewed for this, or was auditioning for this, he thought it was a joke. He thought somebody was fucking with him. Like that this wasn't really going to be a cartoon when he started doing the lines and stuff. And he was just like, is this real? And then he met like Trey and Matt, and I guess it all kind of made sense. And then
another funny thing about Isaac Hayes, when the kids go to his house in this episode, he opens up the door, and he sees Cartman again, and he goes, "Remind me to whip your ass real good next time I see you." But in his house, there's a picture of Isaac Hayes hanging on the wall.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's awesome.
I saw that. Yeah, it's a really cool Easter egg.
Further side note, me and Matt actually played a couple gigs with his daughter, Heather Hayes, back in the day.
Really?
So shout out Heather. Yeah, she's a really talented artist.
Shout out, man.
What's she look like?
All right. And so the episode ends with Kenny, the source of the outbreak. After a huge battle, they kill Kenny by cutting him in half with a chainsaw, and all the townspeople are saved, except for, of course, the ones that they killed. Everyone's so they get this scene where everybody turns back to normal. So the people like Chef that were infected are saved, but the people who are dead with their heads like on the ground turn back.
They're back to normal. There's dead people.
So I read that this was the first episode that Matt and Trey were not happy with the end result because they felt like they wrote themselves into a corner, and they were kind of forced to use the old trope about, you know, kill the original zombie and everyone
back. Yeah.
And they didn't want to do that, but I don't know if it was a time crunch or like I said, they just wrote themselves into that corner and they couldn't figure a way out.
Wrestling, they call it booking yourself into a corner where there's no like you got to pull some ridiculous shit that doesn't make any sense. Like terrible.
Like jumping off a ladder.
I didn't realize that, until Shadwick said it, because I thought the episode made a perfect sense. It's not like a hilarious comedic like execution at the end, but I mean, to me, I thought it was kind of funny and it worked.
But they get when you get like the little, like I said, they don't do a ton of interviews, but when you get the interviews from they're hypercritical of their own work, which is why they're so good. And they would say, I think it was season 2, which we'll do. Trey and Matt, like they used to do this thing called mini audio commentary on all the seasons DVDs they would release, right? So they would talk over like 5 minutes of each episode. And they were just like saying at one point in time, they can't even go back and watch season 2. They're like, I can't. That's like the worst season we've ever done. They hate it. Like, and there's some fucking gems in there, I think. Like,
is that the Victoria Silverstread?
That's in basketball. And it is a classic.
Was it?
You talk about the Species girl?
Yeah.
Natasha Henstridge?
Yes. We love her acting.
Yeah.
Wasn't that in season 2?
You get to be Natasha Henstridge tonight.
Then they do they did some like pre-recorded little intros.
Yeah, that was the one where they were talking about. Yeah, they were talking about Species, and he was saying like tonight you're going to be Natasha Henstridge.
Why don't you go build a teepee there, buddy? I think you'll be Natasha Henstridge tonight.
They have a guy named Indian Companion with them.
Someone coming. But yeah, man. So that's why they're good. Is they're good. They're funny ass dudes anyway, but they are hypercritical of their own stuff. And Trey even said if he didn't have himself on a deadline, that he was like, I would continue to probably edit one episode for the rest of my life because you keep thinking of a better way to do it. And anybody that's done,
I get that. Like
I did too.
Every week,
same here.
When I'm doing those thumbnails, like even the one I did this morning for Beetlejuice, I've been thinking all day of one thing I really should change on it.
Mm-hmm. Like I mean,
and it's probably fine.
It looks great. I like it, and it gets the point across, which is more important than anything.
Yes,
but I think that's just it. That's a cool to see. Hey man, like anybody that's in a creative field or anybody that's done any creating of any kind, when you see how hypercritical you can be about your own stuff, guess what? If you're not hypercritical about your own stuff, you're probably really bad. Even 100%. If you are hypercritical, you can still be pretty bad. We show you that.
but at least you're improving though. Like when you're hypercritical, at least you're getting better.
Yeah,
and I did the same thing in the voiceover booth. And like when clients I just need this in one take, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna knock this out in one take, and it's like take 37, and I'm like, why did I say the word cat that way? Why?
Yeah, he had sex with my mama. Why?
Why?
Well, at least my mom's on the cover of Crack Whore magazine.
Yeah, that's another one. That's true. Find out Cartman's mom's a whore later on, which we'll get into season 2. I do want to give a shout out to one of the end cliffhanger on this one was when you're going to find out who Cartman's dad is. And it was at the end of season 1. So then you had to wait till season 2. Instead of airing the episode where you find out the cliffhanger that everybody's been waiting for this entire time, they played that Terrence and Phillip episode, which is just trolling everybody on dick and fart jokes, right? But it's a 22-minute troll. And so people were so mad, and that is when I fell in love with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I was like,
shout out.
To me,
you're going to be Natasha Henstridge tonight.
Yeah. To me, it's like the Andy Kaufman joke where he was reading The Great Gatsby, and then he was like, you want me to do comedy? And he stopped reading, and then he plays a record, and it's him reading The Great Gatsby. But he just didn't stop. That was his whole act, I guess, that night. But
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis, Tennessee. Jerry Lawler. I think they probably underestimated how popular South Park had gotten too, because there were a lot of people, and this was starting to get the message boards. People were so fucking pissed. But guess what? They showed back up the next week when they had the real episode. And the best part is they didn't even give an answer on that one either. Cartman's dad was his mom because she's a hermaphrodite.
Yeah. It wasn't John Elway after all.
It was not the 90-something Denver Broncos or whatever.
The entire team. I thought that was genius because Matt Stone in the back of their minds had to be like, we're not creating another character for this.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not doing that.
They just trolled everybody through it, and that is why they are. in my opinion, the funniest comedic writers or performers or whatever on the fucking planet right now. So
agreed.
Guys, do you have any final thoughts here on South Park episode 1? Because this is our season 1. This was the one, man, that hooked me though. I remember it got the belief we had the fucking VHS of this back in the day when it released.
That tape out, brother.
So did you guys notice, Chris? I know you're you know a lot more about the subject than I do, but as far as the voices, I noticed going back and watching this first season, like the voices are it's still them, but they're different. Like
so, Cartman, Trey was doing Cartman, from what I understand, legit back then, and then eventually they did a pitch shift to make him talk like he is now, because that's probably pretty rough on your throat anyway.
I'd say so.
But it also sounds a little cleaner. So that's why Cartman, you can probably tell like by season 2 when that voice clears up, and also you can articulate more when you're not doing that voice the way they do it now. So like that's what happened. True. So they talk straight up for Stan and Kyle, and then they just pitch shift it, and they've always done that. So like they just change the key or the pitch or whatever, and it makes it that higher.
So outside of the episodes that we discussed, are there any like one-liners or any jokes, any scenes that just like really stuck in your head from season 1?
One of them from season 1, dude, the Mr. Hanky where he flies across the fucking room and hits Cartman in the face. So
every time he lands, there's shit stains.
Stains. And it's so that it just cuts, and it's not Mr. Hanky. It's just a piece of shit that Kyle picked up with his hand and threw at Cartman. That makes me laugh every single fucking time.
And then I don't know if it was season 1 or not, but we talked about Ned and Jimbo earlier. Which one's which? Which one's the
Ned is the what you got, bitch.
So there's an episode where Ned is supposed to be training someone to fight, and he's just they're in a ring. Of course, Ned's just got his one arm, and he's got whoever it is, one of the kids, I think maybe. It's like in the corner, and Ned just like keeps jabbing him in the face. He's like,
what you got, biatch?
With his one arm.
Yeah. The voice box makes all of his lines hilarious, especially when he gets caught on fire in Chris's episode. He's rolling on the ground. It gets screamed. It's so good. It's so it's like stop, drop, and roll, Dad.
Yeah, you have any stick out leaf, man.
Man, my favorite, Chris already knows what it is. We talked about it before the podcast. It's a throwaway line. None of y'all are going to laugh at it, but I don't give a shit because it's funny to us. There's a line in Tom's Rhinoplasty, that episode, where it's after the surgery. Mr. Garrison gets a nose job, and it's like his bandages are still like covering his face. He's bleeding from his nose, and he's nauseated. He's sick. And the doctor starts going into this diatribe. He's like, bro, I understand why you're sick. You just had your face rearranged, cartilage snapping, bone being like crushed. He's going to make him sick. And the whole time Mr. Garrison's like, like he's getting sicker and sicker. And at the end, the doctor goes, hey, have you ever seen that movie Contact? And immediately Mr. Garrison
Oh, stop! That movie was terrible.
And then it's into a toilet. And then his fucking line is like, he leads up and he's like, waited through that whole movie to find out the alien was his goddamn father.
So a random Contact roast is my favorite
roast out of nowhere, man.
It's so funny.
Also in the Beefcake episode, where Mr. Garrison is going to kill Kathleen Gifford.
Right?
Gifford.
And he goes with a gun in his hand and talks to the sheriff.
Brady.
And they ask him like, if someone was trying to get a clean view of Kathleen Gifford, and he tells him like where to go, like in the book
depository, like Kennedy's assassination.
Yeah.
So then the kids like figure out that he's going to try to kill her, and they go to Officer Barbrady, and
you have
he's like having a flashback of
I think the book depository would be a good bet. Book depository. Damn, he could be anywhere.
If y'all, I want to know in comment section if we missed one, your favorite moments. I want to hear about it. Like, I'd love for people to talk about their favorite moments, because you know what, we do all this research, we miss stuff, about that it might be really good to y'all. So I want to know.
Be sure to we do the cliche, like, subscribe, tell your friends, man. Let's get a community going. Let's talk about how the good old days were there, brothers and sisters.
Leif, before we go,
yeah,
I don't know if you said it on air or not, but you said that you were kind of under the weather.
I've been sick. My wife got me sick. She had some sort of crud, and I've got it. But whatever, we roll.
Well, I mean, is it like stomach or it's just like a cold or what?
It's just like allergies. I can't stop sneezing in my nose. I took like 4 Benadryl before we went on the air tonight, and I'm just like zooming, dude.
Yeah,
that's not how Benadryl works.
It's close enough, dude. Have you ever had 4?
Yeah.
We do not encourage the use of drug use on the podcast.
Yeah, they don't. I do.
I've never done drugs.
Yeah, I've never done drugs.
No, the reason I was asking, I've had like some like stomach issues the past couple of days, and my wife's like, well, "Did you eat anything different?" I'm like, "I don't think so." After I had surgery on my shoulder, I started taking this collagen. This last time I changed brands, and I was looking at it last night, and it says all the same shit, and then it says plus 1 billion probiotics for gut health. And so I was just like, I seen your thing like probiotics. That's like little animals, like little bacteria. Like so, like every chug is just like all these like living organisms going down my throat, and I was like, now I know how all those white women felt.
And with that, we'll go ahead and take us over to our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
PLO leader Yasser Arafat announced this week that his wife is pregnant. The happy couple said they really don't care if the child is a boy or a girl, just as long as it hates Jews.